You know, every restaurant is a buffet if you're willing to pay, especially here in Las Vegas, the all-you-can-eat capital of the world. Hello friends, it's me, Shin, and I'm on a quest to vlog every restaurant on the Las Vegas Strip as well as downtown on Fremont Street. I'm 154 in, and this week for number 155, I'm here at the Bellagio, Las Vegas, where I'm checking out the Harvest for the first time. Really happy to have you along. I'll see you inside. All right, everyone, and here I am seated at Harvest at the Bellagio, Las Vegas. This is an absolutely stunning restaurant. As soon as you walk in, you're greeted by a very dimly lit but beautiful space. I really love the open kitchen concept here. It really shows the confidence in their work. Nothing to hide. I really appreciate that. You have booths and tables for seating, wooden tabletops, stained woods, as well as stone motifs on the walls. A really elegant restaurant here. I like the vibes. Now, regardless of the vibes, you know, it's all about the food for me, so let's take a look at what they have to eat on the menu. So let's take a look at what they have here at Harvest, starting with the beverages and cocktails. Feel free to take a pause in the video if you'd like to take a closer look at these drinks. Got a Harvest Mule, something like an Aperol Spritz, and Lychee Martini. Yeah, all really good looking cocktails here. A little Sangria, Old Fashioned there at the bottom. And you also have a Harvest Mocktail with pomegranate, cranberry, and fresh lemonade. That sounds good. Anything else on this list? Oh yeah, there's a backside here too. So we got wine by the glass, whites and sparklings, your red and rosés here, and a short beer list on the back, domestics, imports, and crafts, all looking to be in about that $10 to $11 range. And they also have a wine list here at Harvest in a beautiful leather-bound book here. Nice long list, and it looks like they do have a $50 corkage fee for wines that if you want to bring in. Maximum 2 bottle limit here. So we'll just kind of breeze through this. Feel free again to take a pause in the video if you'd like to take a closer look at these beverages. But they have wine by the glass as well as by the bottle here. Now actually these are all looking like bottle prices. And again, I'm gonna just kind of breeze through these so you can see the prices, but we don't stay too long here. Champagne, rosé. Oh yeah, this is a super extensive list. All right, we're gonna kind of speed through this again. Chardonnays, your Sauvignon Blancs, your Burgundies, and yeah, all. Okay, this is a huge wine list. Italian whites, German whites, whites of the world. Additional rosés down here. An American red, Pinot Grigio, or I'm sorry, Pinot Noirs. Nice list of Pinots here. Your Pinots from Oregon, and then your Cabs from California. Nice list of Cabernet Sauvignon. And your Cabs are continuing on this next list. Oh yeah, they've got a very extensive wine list here at Harvest. And your Cab blends. Merlot and Zinfandel down here. And the list is continued. You have your Southern Hemisphere reds here. Argentina, Chile, as well as Australia, New Zealand. Your French reds, your Bordeaux's here. Oh yeah, this list keeps on going. Okay, I think we're about a little over halfway through. I'm gonna kind of try and speed through this again, folks. But I do know there's a fair number of you who are just curious as to what the prices are like here at the Harvest here in 2025. So your reds continued here, all from Spain and Portugal, and some dessert wines here as well. Oh yeah, nice looking list. Okay, now we're getting into the spirits. We got some whiskey up front, bourbon, scotch down here. This is looking good. Single malt scotch whiskey. You also have your Japanese and Taiwanese whiskey, and we have gin here as well. Very long list. Tequila, and we actually are kind of nearing the end here. Rum, vodka, as well as our cognacs. All right, we made it to the end of the list here, folks. Now that's a pretty extensive wine list here, as well as a lot of different cocktails and beverages. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be doing any drinking today. It is a weekend, but I'm joined by my parents, and I wanna have a pretty intact conversation with them. So just gonna be doing the food. Let's take a look at what they have to eat next. So here is your menu at Harvest. Let me give you a view. Starting with the soups and salads, we have a Caesar up top, vegetable, a roasted carrot salad, and some French onion soup. That looks good. And your list of appetizers, we have Harvest naan bread, salt and pepper fried shrimp, oysters, yellowtail crudo, pork belly lettuce wraps. These are all looking really good. And then here is the land and sea, all of your entrees. We have a prime filet mignon, ribeye, hanger steak for the beef options. Looks like we have roasted half chicken, as well as braised short ribs, salmon, branzino, scallops, and tandoor roasted vegetables. Nice. And for your sides, crushed potatoes, sauteed mushrooms, bone marrow, broccolini, farro risotto. Yeah, this is all looking really good. A nice and condensed menu here at Harvest, and plenty I'm looking forward to trying today, because you know how it goes in my videos. Every restaurant is a buffet if you're willing to pay. I'm gonna get a nice variety, and together we're gonna see what Harvest is all about. Appetizers are coming up first. I'll see you a little bit when they arrive. And welcome back everyone. Our appetizers just got here. This is looking really good. Let me give you a view. We got the Harvest Caesar salad, as well as the French onion soup, an order of their pork belly lettuce wraps, the prime filet tartare, and their salt and pepper fried shrimp. This is all looking really tasty. Let's give it a try. I want to kick things off today with the French onion soup. I've got a nice big spoonful here with a little bit of that crostini as well as the cheese. And hopefully it tastes good. Let's give it a try. Yeah, not bad. A nice start to the meal with this French onion soup. We'll break it down bit by bit. Now, I do like this bread loaf that they've used as basically the crostini topper. Despite being soaked in the soup, it still has a little bit of crisp to it, but a very earthy and nutty flavor. There's a lot more flavor coming out of that crostini than I typically get out of French onion soup, so that is nice. We have a layer of a toasty Gruyere cheese that's been applied on top of that crostini. It's rich, has a bit of a mild cheese flavor, but it has been toasted and bruleed, so you get a bit of a nutty taste to it. Now, the onion soup isn't bad. It's a little bit on the thin side, and the flavor of the onion here is quite robust. A nice natural sweetness coming out of those caramelized onions. The taste of that is quite enjoyable. Now, there's something incredibly tangy in this particular version of French onion soup. I want to say there's a fair amount of Worcestershire sauce in this recipe, or something very similar. Maybe some kind of a dark vinegar. There's definitely a bit of a musky tang to this soup. It is well seasoned, although a little bit on the sweet side. And this particular French onion soup lacks a bit of a richness. I'm curious if they use something like a beef broth here. I'm pretty sure it's something more like a vegetable broth, because while it is flavorful, it just lacks a certain savory depth. Still a pretty decent French onion soup though. Not a bad way to start off the meal. Next up, I'm going in on their beef tartare. I've spread a nice amount of the beef tartare on top of my crostini here, and this is looking pretty good. Hopefully it tastes as good as it looks. Let's see how it is. Oh yeah, that's good. Really enjoyable steak tartare. Starting with the vessel, I actually really like the sourdough bread. A little bit of a crunch, nice and crusty. With a toasty, airy center, you absolutely get that trademark sour flavor in the bread, but a bit of a nuttiness to it as well. It's been buttered nicely. There's a bit of a richness to this. Really like the bread. Now, the prime filet tartare on top is actually very good. Very soft and tender beef. A nice richness to this bite. You got a really good quality cut of meat here. A nice garlic aioli has been evenly distributed throughout all of the tartare, providing a bit of a richness as well as a garlicky hit. And there's a certain brininess to it also. It's nicely seasoned, and they also have a sous vide egg yolk here, providing additional richness. And there's just a hint of citrus on the back end, providing some freshness, some really nice flavors here. Really good texture, and it tastes great. That's a good one. Next up, we'll try the pork belly lettuce wrap. This is looking really fresh, and it's served alongside some kind of a brownish reddish sauce. I've got some on top here, and this smells great. Pork belly lettuce wraps. Oh, that is very good. Now I'm really liking this appetizer. You gotta start the discussion with this crispy pork belly. It is excellent. The skin is so incredibly crispy. Such a satisfying crunch to that. And it sets the stage for an incredibly succulent and rich pork belly. Super soft, ultra tender. This pork belly is incredibly satisfying. The butter lettuce that's used as the wrapping is incredibly fresh. The freshness matching its vibrant green color. You have a carrot, cabbage, and radish slaw here, which has been tossed in a slightly sweet dressing. A little bit of tang to that dressing as well. It helps to cut through the richness of this bite. A well-balanced slaw to help out with that pork belly. Now, a lot of the additional flavor comes from this sauce, and it's a sambal-based sauce. Now, sambal you can think of as a spicy, garlicky sauce with its origins in Southeast Asia, and it's adding a lot of depth to this pork belly wrap. The succulent pork, the sweet and tangy slaw alongside this slightly spicy sambal sauce really works well together. I like this dish a lot. That's really good. Next up is the salt and pepper shrimp. Giant pieces of fried shrimp here, served alongside what looks like a spicy mayo. And let's see how it tastes. Yeah, it's good. This is a nicely prepared shrimp dish. A very airy fry when it comes to this batter. There's probably something like baking soda in the batter helping to provide a little bit of that bubbly, airy nature. The batter is seasoned simply but generously. It does taste good. And there's a hint of something slightly bitter in that batter as well. I'm curious if there is something like beer, because you can taste something like a hop-like flavor, like a hoppy taste. While the shrimp is plump, I can't exactly say that I taste a lot of those briny flavors. That sweetness is a little bit lost here. We have a very classic spicy mayo sauce. It's rich, it's creamy, slightly garlicky with the touch of spice. It certainly works well with this fried shrimp. I wouldn't necessarily say this is anything revolutionary though. A pretty solid fried shrimp dish right there. All right, everyone, and the last bite that I'm trying from the appetizer round is gonna be some of their Caesar salad. Nice looking Caesar salad here. And while I don't do salad too often on the channel, I'm being joined by my parents and they wanted something a little bit fresher, so we went in on this. Let's see how it is. Yeah, that's good. Now the romaine lettuce here is crisp, fresh, has a natural bitterness to it, although it looks like they're also using leaves of butter lettuce in here, which is an interesting mix. I do like the Caesar salad dressing that they're using. It's very clearly homemade, a little bit lighter than your standard Caesar salad dressing, not as creamy, just a little bit thinner, but a good garlicky flavor, and you do get an anchovy-like salinity here. There's a heavy application of black pepper, which I love. A nice peppery kick on a Caesar salad is definitely my thing. And you also have some sliced radishes in here, providing a little bit of additional bitterness. Some nicely toasted croutons made from scratch provide a little bit of additional texture crunch, as well as a bit of an earthy flavor. And the shaved pepperoni cheese here provides a little bit of that additional salty hit. A perfectly fine Caesar salad. A nice and fresh, enjoyable salad. That's just fine. All right, everyone. Now that's all of the appetizers I'm trying today. Again, I'm joined by my parents, and we're going to continue working on this, and then we'll do our first round of entrees. Don't go around, I'll be right back. And welcome back, everyone. My first round of entrees just got here. This is looking so good. Let me give you a view. I got an order of the roasted half chicken, as well as the braised beef short ribs, an order of their scallops, as well as the roasted tandoor vegetables. This is all looking really tasty. Let's give it a try. We'll kick things off with the scallops. Beautiful looking scallop here, served in some kind of a green sauce. Smells great. Let's give the scallop a try. Oh, that is very good. A truly excellently cooked scallop here. A nice sear on one side, providing a little bit of crisp, as well as a slightly nutty flavor. I really must commend the cook on this, because it's just absolute perfection. A nice spongy, slightly firm scallop here, such a wonderful texture, as well as a mild sweet flavor. They've really retained the beautiful taste of the scallop. I'm very impressed. Now it's served in something like a green curry sauce. It's incredibly light, not too thick, with a very faint coconut-like sweetness. A bit of a pungent flavor to it as well from that curry. It is a nice accompanying flavor when it comes to these scallops. Really enjoyed the scallops, that was so good. Now the scallops are served alongside some broccolini and cauliflower. Let's give this a shot. Oh yeah, it's good. Nicely cooked broccolini, slightly firm on the outside, but a soft chew to the center. These have been blanched perfectly. You still have a vibrant color to these, and the natural flavor of the broccolini definitely comes through here. I taste the green curry sauce on the broccolini even more than I did on top of the scallops, and I'm finding it to be very pleasant. That slightly sweet, pungent flavor goes very well on these vegetables. A nice dish in general. I like this one a lot. Next up, the half roasted chicken. You get a half roasted bird here, and it's served alongside some kind of a sauce. I would give it a dip. Now let's try out the roasted chicken. Oh, that's good. Nicely roasted chicken here. I wouldn't exactly say it's the juiciest chicken I've ever had, but still relatively moist, and you have some soft and tender chicken meat. There is a bit of a smoky flavor when it comes to this chicken. It's light, it's faint, but it's actually very present in the aftertaste. It's almost a woodsy note. It's pretty good. The chicken has been well seasoned. It's also been well brined. Generally good flavors here, not a bland chicken at all. You have a sweet chili sauce here that's included with the chicken. It's very thick, just a few consistency points away from being a jelly, but it does coat the chicken nicely. The sauce does have a nice viscous consistency. There's a little bit of a spice to it, although not overpowering, but it is quite sweet. Not just sweet, but I would say there's a bit of a tart aspect to it. If I had to rank the flavor profiles you get, it's tart, then sweet, and then spicy. It's not a bad sauce, although I don't know if it particularly matches up with this chicken recipe well. An Asian-style sweet chili sauce alongside a very Western-style smoked chicken, I'm not sure if it's a match made in heaven, but it's certainly not a match made in hell. This is just fine. Next up, we're going in on the short ribs. I'll just say that it was incredibly easy to get this on the fork. Super soft. Hopefully it tastes good. Let's see how it is. Oh, that is very good. I am loving this short rib. Every aspect of it is just very enjoyable. So tender, so soft. You can shred this with a fork with minimal pressure. This is the cook on a short rib that I love. A nice deep beefy flavor here as well. This short rib comes from a great cut of meat. It's rich, savory, nothing wrong when it comes to the short rib here. Now the sauce on top is very reminiscent of a butter chicken style gravy. It's rich, savory, quite pungent, but there's definitely a striking amount of garam masala, curry powder, and cumin in this sauce. The pungent flavors here lend very nicely to this beautiful short rib. I'm liking this a lot. An excellent short rib dish here. I'm enjoying this one quite a bit. Now the short rib did come alongside some potato puree as well as some carrots. Let's see how this is. Oh yeah, that's good. Perfectly executed potato puree. Super soft, very smooth, incredibly velvety in texture. A nicely whipped potato puree here. Very buttery. This is quite the rich recipe, but you do still get to taste the potato. It's not completely lost in the richness. That's good. A nice natural sweetness coming from these carrots as well. Can't complain about that. A very enjoyable side for the short ribs. I like that. All right, everyone. Now the last dish that I'm trying from this first round of entrees is going to be the tandoor roasted vegetables. Now this is one of the vegetarian options available on the menu, and it smells incredible. Hopefully it tastes as good as it smells. Tandoor roasted vegetables. Oh yeah, that's good. This is a great Indian dish. Starting with the basmati rice, a nice cook to it, a nice fluffy texture to this rice, not too gummy, not too sticky, and a nice neutral flavor. A good basmati rice here. You effectively have something like a vegetable curry here with some great roasted tandoor vegetables, super soft fork tender potatoes, tomatoes and carrots, all tossed in a very flavorful curry gravy. This does taste good. The curry gravy is thick, slightly rich, with a nice pungent flavor profile. A little bit on the sweeter side than other curries I've had in the past, but still very enjoyable. And there's just a little bit of heat to it as well, a little bit of spice on that back end. To help neutralize and balance out that spice, you do have a very creamy and rich raita sauce here. It's rich, cool, and refreshing, and brings a lot of balance to the overall bite. A very flavorful vegetarian dish. That's a good entree right there. I enjoyed that. All right, my friends, now that's all of the food I'm trying from this first round of entrees. A few more bites. My parents and I are going to take this all to go, and then we'll do our next round. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. And welcome back, everyone. It's time for our last round of entrees. With my last round, I decided to go on a very traditional steak dinner. I went on their sliced ribeye. I went in on their grilled ribeye steak, as well as some crushed potatoes and their roasted Brussels sprouts. This is all looking really tasty. Let's give it a try. I'm going to kick things off with the ribeye steak. It does come pre-sliced for you, and I had this prepared medium rare, and I'm certainly liking the color. Let's see how it tastes. Oh yeah, that's good. This is a very nice ribeye steak. Absolutely cooked to temperature. We have a bit of a warm pink center here, and it's incredibly tender, a very soft piece of steak here. Now it does come pre-sliced, and oftentimes I'm a little bit weary of this style, simply because if you don't give the steak enough time to rest, you have a lot of those juices escape from the steak itself. But thankfully they have a very talented kitchen here, and this steak looks properly rested. You can see just how little juice and moisture has left the steak onto the plate. All of those delicious beef juices have reincorporated back into the meat after cooking, and it just leads to a very flavorful bite. Not only has the steak been well seasoned and has a well-developed crust, with a nice flaky finishing salt on the top providing some additional salinity. A nice prime cut of beef, well marbled, with all of that fat beautifully rendered. You've got a very good steak here. Really enjoyable. I like that steak a lot. We'll try some sides next, starting off with the crushed potatoes. Effectively, you're talking about mashed potatoes here, and I've got a nice amount on the fork. Here are the crushed potatoes. I'd say those are just okay. A very rustic preparation of a mashed potato. You have nice big chunks of potato all throughout the mash. It does lend itself to a satisfying mouthful. A lot of the Las Vegas steakhouses tend to err toward potato puree as opposed to something more like a mash here. And while both of them certainly have their place, I am enjoying the crushed potato texture here. There's a fair amount of butter incorporated. This is a rich dish, but outside of the butter, I do think these mashed potatoes are a little under-seasoned. The starchy flavor of the potato is a little bit straightforward here. Personally, I would prefer a little bit more depth when it comes to the flavor of these mashed potatoes. While chives are present, I wouldn't exactly say I can taste them, but I do like the bit of color they add. But in general, I would say these potatoes are just a tad bland. Definitely not the best mashed potato dish I've had here in Las Vegas. All right, everyone, and the last bite that I'm trying from my round of food today is gonna be the Brussels sprouts. Nicely toasted Brussels sprout here, and I've also got some of this pork on the fork. Let's give it a shot. Oh yeah, it's pretty good. A nicely executed Brussels sprout side. Starting with the Brussels sprouts themselves. The natural flavor of Brussels sprouts can be very, very bitter and very off-putting, and so you have to cook them down properly to really get them to release a lot of that bitterness. I'm happy to report they've done it properly here. These are very palatable Brussels sprouts. They've been soaked in something like a balsamic vinaigrette, and that in turn has led to a bit of a caramelized, slightly tangy sweetness, further enhanced by some pomegranate seeds. There are some sliced pieces of pork belly in here, providing some salinity as well as richness, but more than that, I would say they're lending their smoky element to the bite, giving a little bit of balance here. A really nice cook to these Brussels sprouts as well, soft all the way through. Even a slightly undercooked Brussels sprout can be pretty tough to chew through the center, so I'm very happy to report that the preparation here is solid. I do think it leans a little bit on the sweet side in general, but overall these have been well seasoned and it complements the steak dish nicely. An enjoyable Brussels sprout side there. All right, everyone, now that's all of the food I'm trying here today. Just a few more bites on the box is all up to go, and then we'll do some dessert next. Don't go anywhere because sweets are coming up. And welcome back, my friends. Now all of the food is done. My parents and I packed it all up to go, so we're gonna do some sweets next. Let's take a look at that dessert menu together. So here is your dessert menu at Harvest. Taking a look here. Sticky toffee pudding, cheesecake, chocolate and coconut, that's a vegan option. Salted caramel apple cobbler, oh, this is looking all really good. We have some wines and dessert cocktails here as well. And that's your dessert menu here at the Harvest. A nice little dessert menu here at Harvest. I'm gonna get my order in, but for all of you at home, I'm gonna make it appear right now. And my dessert just got here. This is looking really good. This is the salted caramel apple cobbler. I've got a gigantic spoonful here, and it's looking really, really good, and it smells incredible. Now, I must admit, I'm really, really full, but there's always just a little bit of room for some sweets, right? Let's activate the dessert stomach. Give this a try. Yeah, it's good. I'd say a pretty standard apple cobbler recipe here. Starting with the apples themselves, they've been well cooked, nice and soft, with a nice sweetness as well as a woodsy element coming from some cinnamon. Nicely spiced apples, those are good. The ice cream is incredibly rich, very creamy, with a smooth vanilla flavor. Really nice ice cream when it comes to this cobbler. Now, I do find the cobbler portions on the top to be a little bit lackluster. They're lacking a certain crispness to the texture, and given the soft apples as well as the soft ice cream, you're aching for just a little bit of variation when it comes to the texture. You certainly get the natural sweetness of the apples here, though, that has been captured well in this dessert, and the salted caramel provides a nice nutty sweetness. That is good. I do in general like the flavors here. If that crumble was just a little bit crispier, I think I would like this a lot more. All right, everyone, now that's gonna do it for my dinner here at Harvest at the Bellagio, Las Vegas. Everything you saw in the video today came out to $521 before tip, and my parents and I had a good time. The pork belly lettuce wraps were absolutely my favorite appetizer of the day, and when it came to that first round of entrees, the short rib was really, really good. I must say the ribeye steak was solid as well. Overall, I'd say the food is really good here. A lot of really great fresh recipes as well as some solid vegetarian options. If you're staying here at the Bellagio or you're interested in coming to Harvest, hopefully this video has been informative for you. All right, everyone, now that's going to do it for this week's video where I'm continuing my quest to vlog every restaurant on the Las Vegas Strip as well as downtown on Fremont Street. Hopefully you'll return next Saturday as I continue to add to my collection. I'm doing the whole thing here. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a fantastic week and I hope you enjoy Vegas with me, Shin. Bye.